Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be rating the horses that we trained in February. Just for a refresher, we're going to be going over the horses that we trained this month. So we started with the Ardennes, and then we did the Tennessee walking horse, we did the Morgan, we did Hortensia, which is based on the Saddlebred model, and then we did a Knabstrupper, H&M, which is a Belgian Warmblood, and then we also trained a Mustang. I know that most of this lineup is new horses, so I just wanted to bring up the years that these models were released just for context. So Hortensia, the Ardennes, and the Gen 3 Mustang, those all came out just last year in 2024. In 2023, we had the Morgan, and then the Tennessee walking horse and H&M All-In, the Belgian Warmblood, those came out in 2022. And our oldest horse in this lineup is actually the Knabstrupper, and they came out in 2020. So when it comes to the animations and the gaits of these horses, these are the rankings that I chose. In the top tier, we have the Belgian Warmblood and the Mustang. In the tier below that, we have the Tennessee walking horse and the Ardennes. In the B tier, we have the Morgan, Hortensia, or the Saddlebred. And then in the C tier, we have the Knabstrupper. When we look at the Belgian Warmblood, I was actually very surprised to see how smooth and fluid all of the gaits were and the transitions between the animations. The only thing that would have and maybe should have brought this breed one tier down is that they removed the bucking animation for this breed. I wish they would have kept that. You can actually look it up and see that there was a bucking animation planned for this breed and it was cut last minute. And if you press the space bar, as if you're going to be doing the special trick for many of the horse breeds, it does this weird stuttering motion with its legs as if there used to be an animation there and they didn't fully clean up and remove it. And I think that's the remnants of the bucking animation. And when it comes to the Mustang, I thought the same thing. I thought the animations were great. I thought their idle animations and just in general the way they carry themselves, there's a lot of sass, there's a lot of wildness to them. I think they paid tribute to the breed very well. I love how the mane and the tail looks. I think they did a really good job with like the rough, wind knotted looking like dreads and tufts of their hair. I think they did a really good job on that. For the Tennessee Walker, I kind of just noted down that there was nothing special about this horse when it comes to animations and the gaits. It's smooth, like the transitions are smooth. It has a very nice jumping formation, which is why it is in the A tier, even though there's nothing super special about it. It just looks really nice whenever it's jumping, and it makes for good photo opportunities. I did also make note that this breed did like long thin legs on a horse breed very well, because if you look at January's video, you'll see my complaints with the Akhal-Teke, and there was another breed I can't remember off the top of my head, but I had complaints about how when you're riding these horses that have like lengthier builds, it kind of feels like sometimes you're riding on a spider. It just doesn't seem like a natural range of motion, and they did improve that on this horse. And then moving down to the Ardennes, everything about this horse was beautiful. If you guys have been following me on Facebook or Instagram, you would have seen me ranting and raving about like this horse was done perfectly, and this was my go-to horse on Red Dead Redemption as well. So I was absolutely obsessed with it. They translated how much of a gentle giant they are so well. I love the animation of their hair. The gaits look great. I think there were only a couple of complaints I had with this breed, and one of them was the jumping. It jumps okay. It's not very high. It's average, I guess. I mean, it's not nearly as high as the Saddlebred, which we'll get into. I also don't like the kicking motion that it does at the end of its jumping animation. It just seems weird. And one of the other reasons that it was put into the B tier is because when you are at a full gallop with it, the animation, like the motion of the tail and the legs, there's nothing wrong with it. but it kind of has this like wobbling effect, and it looks kind of weird. If you look at it from the side, it looks totally normal, but whenever you're behind the horse, as the camera view often is, unless you change your camera view, it does have this weird wobbling motion. It kind of reminds me of like a tire that's about to fall off of a car. And then the only other thing that I put for this one in regards to its animations is it is a recycled animation with its special move, where it just sits down and has the butterfly land on its nose. A lot of other breeds have the sitting down type animation. I do think they improved on the animation. If you notice how your rider, how the character sits on the horse whenever it lays down, I think it looks a lot more natural, it looks better. I think your character leans forward more. But yeah, I put that I was a little disappointed that it was a recycled animation from previous large breeds like this. For the Morgan breed, I think the only reason why it's down in the B tier is I thought the legs looked a little bit stiff while on full gallop, especially the hind legs. There was just something about it that was a little less fluid than the other breeds, and it was really disappointing because I really enjoyed how they animated the mane and tail. I thought that looked really good, and also, as you can see in the photo here that I chose for the ratings, it has a wonderful jumping formation as well. For Hortensia or the Saddlebreds, I have to say this breed was a huge disappointment for me. I was so excited for the Saddlebreds. I thought that the long tail design was beautiful and regal, and they were a nice, like, beautiful slender breed. I know that they are actually bred to like pull carts and stuff, but when I got it, I just couldn't help but wish that it would hold still for just a second. Like, all of its idle animations, it's constantly moving, it's jostling its head around, it's ready to go, and if that's the type of horse that you're looking for, that's great. I just was not a fan. I thought that it was too jittery. I know last month I said that one of the breeds was as if a horse had ADHD, and I take that back and I apologize to that breed. I think it was the Appaloosa or the paint. It's this breed. This breed is the reincarnation of ADHD. It's constantly flicking its hair, flicking its head, jumping up and down on its feet. Like, it is constantly moving. They did do an amazing job with the long tail animations, but I did notice a couple of issues whenever you're jumping. I noticed that sometimes part of the hair on the tail goes down quicker than it would naturally. Like, obviously they had their work cut out for them there, and I don't blame them at all. They did as well as they could for what they had. I just wasn't a fan of how this horse was animated in general. It is extremely hyper. It is a very high jumper. We'll get into that later, but that is something that I did appreciate from this breed. And then for the Knabstrupper, obviously I want to give it a little bit more leeway because it is a 5-year-old horse. But in the same aspect, H&M All-In is like 3 years old, and it is leagues better in animation and the gaits than honestly a lot of these horses on this list. The Knabstrupper is so stiff. It's you can just see how old the horse model is. It's very stiff. I did enjoy, on the positive note, it is expressive. It has specifically like facial expressions. Like, it seems to like smile and look around. Like, it seems very like alert and in tune to your character and like excited to go on adventures. So if you're looking for that, that is great. I do think that when this breed goes to the vintage barn to be removed from the game eventually, which will probably be in the near future, I will probably buy more of them. It's not horrible. It's just animations are super stiff, and we have been spoiled the last few years, and we have taken that for granted, and that's what's gotten it the C tier. And as we move on to design, these are the choices that I have made. Obviously, I am so biased for the Ardennes. I'm also really biased because of the coat color. Blue Rowan is my favorite coat color. But no, I just think they did such a good job with like the bulky body, but not made like they didn't make it feel like you're driving a semi. Like it still flows, it still has motion. You can feel the weight behind the horse though as you're riding. I think they designed that horse very well. The Mustangs, I kind of already talked about the mane and tail. I honestly think that's the best part of this breed, but I actually put this specific Mustang up in the top tier because it is Bolt, the magic horse. And obviously everyone at the time whenever this horse came out was freaking out over the animations and how the magic coat looked. And then it also makes it makes like robotic noises, and even the neigh is kind of robotic. I think they went overboard with this horse in the best way possible, and I think it deserves the top tier. It's one of my favorite horses that I own. For H&M All In, I kind of already discussed how, despite this breed being 3 years old, it looks wonderful. Everything's very smooth. If you haven't been able to tell, I have a lot of black, white, gray horses. I don't necessarily like going into the range of like bay, chestnut, stuff like that. I fell in love with this horse. I didn't think I would, and I absolutely fell in love with this horse. It's beautiful. Everything about the horse and the design, it's gorgeous. I love it. For the Morgan, I think they did a really good job, especially with this coat color. That's why I picked it. I just thought it was really pretty. I liked the two-toned tail. I thought that was gorgeous. Like I said, I really just had a complaint with the hind legs in regards to animation, but when it comes to the actual design of the horse, I think they did very well with it. With the Tennessee Walker, like I said, I think they made long legs on a horse, like a slender horse, look good finally. It took them a couple of tries, but they did it. And honestly, with a Saddlebred, I could say the same thing. It doesn't feel like you're riding a spider or anything. I just wish that this horse would have calmed down a little bit. Like I said, there's some issues whenever it comes to the hair. But the real reason why the Hortensia is down in the B tier is because I know a lot of people were complaining about its magic coat. Both this one and its counterpart, the one that's like a moose. I can't remember its name off the top of my head, but I know it's in Ardennes. But it's the horn placement. I understand the horn placement. I understand they did that because the reins will not fit otherwise. There are other horned horse breeds in the game where I feel like they made it look more natural. It's not a make or break deal for me. But I definitely understand the concern with it, and I can see it, and I actually never ride this horse with its magic coat, ever. I enjoy its natural coat more. I think it looks better. And then for the Knabstrupper, I feel really bad tearing into it, because like I said, it is an older breed, and it doesn't deserve to be dogged on. It's just, unfortunately, the luck of the draw, how it was, is it was put into this batch with horses. It was just kind of what I had left that needed trained. But, yeah, like I said, it's stiff. The body's stiff. I like the coat color. The coat color's fine. Like I said, it's stiff, which I know is technically part of the animation rating. A lot of these are interconnected, but for me, I just wasn't a huge fan, and the fact that only 2 years later they came out with H&M All In absolutely blows my mind. So, yeah, the Knabstrupper is down in the last tier. And now for the last rating, we have rideability. I feel like this might actually surprise some people, especially since the Ardennes is so low in the list. But I actually think the Saddlebred is one of the best horses to ride. After I finished training all of these horses, my Hortensia is who I took out to win a couple championships. The horse feels very fast. It clears very high jumps. It has pretty good recovery. Just overall, besides like how hyper it is and the issues with like the hair animations, I think this is one of the best horses of the month to like actually just take out and ride and race with, especially. And I could say the same thing about H&M All In. The horse feels very fast. Jumps are pretty decent, not as high as Hortensia, but it's close. Pretty good recovery as well. I really enjoyed riding it. For the Morgan, it's in the A tier because even though so you can feel it working for you, like it runs pretty fast. I can say the same thing for the Tennessee Walker. You can feel the horse working for you. Like they look fast, they feel fast. For me, both of them actually, like the jumping formation looks great on them, but they do not clear jumps as high as Hortensia or H&M or the one from last month. Again, I think it was the Paint Horse that just for some reason has such a high jump. They also do not have quick recovery, especially the Morgan. I did not like how long it took to like bump into something and then continue going. And then whenever it comes to the B tier, I have also grouped these two horses together, both the Mustang and the Ardennes. They seem to have shorter jumps. Like, it seems like they're always, if you're not hitting that jump exactly right, you're going to hit it. Recovery is not quick. I love the Ardennes, but you can feel the weight of the horse. It's not something I would take out for racing. And I think it's no surprise to anyone that the Knabstrupper is in the C tier. It doesn't feel fast. It doesn't jump well. It doesn't recover well. The animations aren't great. I didn't love riding it, so that's why it's in the last tier. I appreciate you guys sticking with me and going over the horses that I just trained this last month. I am in the process of working on March's horses, and as soon as I have the time, I will be getting that video out towards the end of the month. I got a little busy at the end of February and I didn't have the opportunity to get this video done until then, and I felt really bad about it. Hopefully March is better. I did put aside days just to work on this video in March, but I will say that my birthday is also at the end of March, so hopefully that doesn't disrupt too much. But thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.